The Dallas Stars begin another 3-game road trip, and it starts with round 2 against the Blue Jackets. How can the Stars dominate once again and pull out a victory? Let's talk about it next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105.3 The Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Be sure to subscribe, never miss an episode. As always, thank you so much for making us your first listen and making us a part of your day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you are listening to this. But the Dallas Stars are back in action tonight. Round 2 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And of course, the Stars and Blue Jackets met a week ago, a few weeks ago, week and a half or so, back in Dallas, when the Stars took down the Blue Jackets by a final score of 5-3. The offense exploded. Matt Duchene got his first goal, and the Stars got off to a very quick start. Remember, Thomas Harley scored, 21 seconds in, around that time. So it was the first time we saw the Stars get off to a quick start, and they got good net minding. And they had to deal with Merzlikins, who was in net, who actually played pretty well for the Blue Jackets, but they were able to overcome, which is good news, and probably good news that Merzlikins last time out gave up 3 goals on 11 shots. He was pulled in the contest. And of course, I'm saying this because the Stars have ran into some hot goaltending recently, of course, against Jeremy Swayman and Thatcher Demko. But some good news coming from morning skate yesterday. Duchene and Faksa are supposed to be game time decisions, so we will keep an eye on that into tonight's contest, and hopefully they will both be back and we can bring some familiarity back to the lines, because DeBoer talked about it. He hates 11-7. No doubt about it. He does not like it. Robertson, of course, played a ton, 26 minutes the other night against Boston, and actually played one of his better games, but what they've been trying to build is 4 consistent lines that contribute on an every night basis. So that's what they're going to be looking for against the Blue Jackets. And just taking a look at kind of last game too, it was pretty interesting. The Stars actually held the Blue Jackets to their lowest expected goals forwards percentage by a quite considerable margin on the year. So they did a great job, and that was at 5-on-5. They dominated the Blue Jackets at 5-on-5 in stretches of that game. They just had tons of zone time, and they were moving the puck around and were able to force Merzlikins into some really tough spots and forcing him to make saves and giving up rebounds. A ton of rebounds were created in the contest. And just taking a look at some of the high danger chances the Stars had, I think they ended up having close to 18, was it? Yeah, they had 18 high danger chances, which is pretty remarkable. And they created a lot of offense against Merzlikins, which is a good sign. They were taking his eyes away too. And the Stars, of course, need to get back to that. It's dried up recently. The power play, of course, needs to get going. There's a lot of things the Stars are working on and trying to knock off the rust, so to speak. But at the same time, they've been picking up points, and I feel like I'm being nitpicky, which is probably a good thing. Only a month into the season, they're in second place in the Central Division. They have 15 points, and they're doing a good job so far. They just have not peaked or have come together fully as a group, and we're still waiting to see that. They touched with the defensive pairings. I did not like it. I like Harley and Lundqvist, actually. Not opposed to that by any means. It's the Hakanpää and Lindell pairing is just not going to get the job done. Every time I looked up against Boston, it seems like they're giving up a chance. And granted, Boston was really, really good in the game. They forechecked hard, and they made every pairing's life pretty miserable at some points in the contest, but it's just not a good pairing that you can trot out there night in and night out in today's NHL. Both guys' strengths are not skating. And it makes it really tough to get out of your own zone. Teams are going to be heavy pinching against that pairing in particular, because they know they can take advantage of it, because most of the time Lindell and Hakanpää are not going to be mobile enough to carry the puck out of their own end like Miro can on a night-in-night basis. They're going to force those hard rims, and they're putting you in negative spots where it's not a lot of tape-to-tape passes exiting your own zone. So defensemen can pinch, they can be uber aggressive and not really have to worry about tracking back as much. So we'll see what the pairings look like tonight. I would like them to go back. I know DeBoer didn't love the chemistry that he was getting right away, but the defense has been okay in spots. Of course, in Boston, it was non-existent in the 2 goals they gave up in the first period. And that wasn't a defenseman problem. That was just an overall 5-on-5 defense, just letting a guy all alone within 15 feet of Otter, and they beat him twice. Expect Otter to go tonight. On this 3-game road trip. On Saturday, you have Winnipeg, and then Sunday, you have Minnesota. I'm thinking they're going to play Otter in his hometown, more than likely. So Scott will get the Wedgewall will get the start on Saturday against Winnipeg. And then the Sunday matinee, so to speak, it's a late evening, I guess you could say, or early evening, 5 o'clock start in Minnesota. Interesting back-to-back there. So it's another back-to-back that we get to see the Stars on another road trip, but it begins tonight in Columbus. Big game here to start off your road trip with a bang against a team that has lost 2 of 3 since the last time you met, and they have not been good at 5-on-5. They played Florida, of course, a couple of nights ago, and Merzlikins had a start to forget. Spencer Martin made 34 saves as he came in cold off the bench, and the Columbus Blue Jackets made it interesting, but lost 5-4. We'll see if Martin gets the start. Merzlikins started 4 straight dating back to that Stars game. So I think he's going to get a rest, especially after being pulled early, but who knows, maybe they give him a chance to bounce back. So Martin may go. He's never faced the Stars, so that could bring its own sort of challenges. So the Stars, of course, as I mentioned last time, they can take advantage of this team at 5-on-5. So far on the year, expected goals per 60 is 17th in the league, They're 19th in goals for per 60. So just under 3 for both of those numbers. And they're struggling to get offense. If you think the Stars have struggled to find their scoring touch, Columbus is much worse. And they have some guys they're paying a lot of money to that are not producing at a high level. Johnny Gaudreau just has 5 points in his first 12 games, 1 goal so far. Boone Jenner, he's leading the way in goal scoring 6 by a considerable margin. Their captain with 8 points. Provorov, their defenseman, leads all scorers with 9 assists. He's got 9 points, 9 assists in his 12 games. They're a very active defense. They're a young squad mixed in with some veterans, especially on the back end. The Columbus head coach has not been afraid. Pascal Vincent has not been afraid to healthy scratch some guys, some young talents like Marchenko, who was a healthy scratch his last time out against Dallas. Of course, Patrick Laine is still dealing with an upper body injury. And once again, they're just trying to find their scoring touch. So the Stars can take advantage once again, and they can bury this team. They can bury them really quickly and get out of Columbus in a hurry and go play your back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. So should be an intriguing matchup with Merzlikins just blowing up his last time out. Of course, the Stars coming off back-to-back losses for the first time this season. Otter is been phenomenal coming off a loss. I need to gather his numbers. I should have done that now that it popped in my head, but coming off a loss, he's incredible. I remember the stat that popped up throughout the playoffs last year. He is an incredible netminder coming off a loss. So we'll see Otter be very sharp, I'm sure. And the Stars will head back on the road. I'm interested to see them play a nice, complete road game. Haven't really seen it yet. We've seen it in spurts. And they were so good on the road last year. I'd love to see them play just a really tough, greasy, hard-nosed game on Thursday night. That would be great. And with Faksa maybe coming back, that fourth line can reunite a bit, and hopefully they set a tone. And we'll see with Duchene as well, which we're going to touch on a bit more and how that's going to help the Stars once they come back. Let's do that here in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Jace Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together, you and I. We get fired up together on wins and losses, who starts, who sits. I'm thankful for that connection that we have, Stars fans. And today, I want our chat to be a little bit more personal. I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply on ED medications. You realize that what that means? Bring on extended travel, bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue. You are covered, my friend. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics for Cialis, Viagra, or prescriptions. And this is possible because of our friends at Jace Medical. Go online right now at jacemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace. I am thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year's supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. If you or someone you love would love to get peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered to you. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Good news, Stars fans. Matt Duchene and Radek Faksa are game time decisions. Of course, that does not mean they're going to be playing, but it's good news. Faksa probably more on the spectrum of will play than Duchene because he was really close to being able to go on Monday against Boston. So expect Faksa to be back in. We'll see what the issue is with Duchene or what the situation is. We'll probably know more on morning skate. And of course, once warmups begin, and Duchene, of course, got off the schneid against the Blue Jackets last time out and played actually a phenomenal game. That line was buzzing, and unfortunate once Duchene went down because the Sagan, Marchment, and Faksa line, or excuse me, Sagan, Marchment, and Duchene line, I thought were playing very, very well together. And the Stars have been dealing with some of these injuries dating back to training camp. Faksa was hurt in training camp too, and they're trying to be consistent down the middle and between all four lines. It's been a philosophy from day one with Jim Neal, and especially since DeBoer has come in. He wants 4 solid, consistent lines. He does not like to jumble up that much. We've seen that a touch, mainly because he's been forced to. But if he had it all right in the world, DeBoer wants to roll 4 lines over and over again with the same trios and not have any issues. So with Duchene and Faksa possibly be coming back, that's going to do wonders for this offense. They continue to build chemistry because they're looking for it. Even on the defensive pairings, as we mentioned, the Stars need to find that chemistry and need to get over the hump here rather quickly because, not rather quickly, but they need to continue to rack up points. And basically every team is kind of in this mode where it's foot down, balls to the wall, so to speak. Like, we need to win. Look at the teams in the Central Division. Look at the teams in the Western Conference. Edmonton's falling behind. Another one, Minnesota, has had some bumps and roller coaster of emotions in their first month of the season. Teams that fall behind sometimes never get back. And of course, we're racing here in the month of November to solidify yourself and hopefully begin to pull away from certain teams and see if you can establish yourself as one of the best in the Central Division. Stars are in good hands. They have not played their best hockey, and they've accumulated 15 points, are right in the thick of things, but they're, of course, looking for execution. Of course, with Duchene coming back, it's going to help the power play. Pete DeBoer said yesterday he's not really concerned about it. Maybe he should, but he mentioned that it was not a flash in the pan last year. They did it for a full length of a season. Of course, it was a top 5 power play or top 10. I think it was 7 at 35%, or maybe it was 25%. But it was nonetheless, it was top 5 or top 10 in the NHL. So they did it over a long stretch of time. The personnel from a year ago is here, plus additions like Matt Duchene. The second unit hasn't shown really anything. The 3 goals the Stars have had on the power play have come from the top unit because Rope has a few, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. It may have been Pav, but only 3 power play goals so far. Penalty kill has been excellent. Bringing back Faksa will do the same. And the penalty kill, of course, is rocking right now, 94%. Multiple guys are getting different chances, which is a good sign. Miro and Suter, and Suter's actually been very, very good in some penalty kill work. Big shout out to guys like Thomas Harley that are starting to kind of work their way into that role, which is a great sign. They're expanding his arsenal because I think he's probably been the second best defenseman on the Dallas Stars so far, behind Miro. He's been everything as advertised so far. He jumps up in the rush. He's mobile. He's been really, really solid defensively. Lundqvist is right behind them too. The 2 young guys, I think, have been very, very good. I don't know if Lundqvist is maybe a top 4 defenseman in this league. I just don't know if his offensive ceiling is as high as Harley with the size. He's mobile and he creates a ton of offense. I will praise him for that. I just don't know if he's going to be a top 4 defenseman in the National Hockey League. And maybe that's still a bit early to say. He's still young and has not even played 100 games at this level. I like what I see, but I feel as if he's more of a fringe top 4, kind of your 5th defenseman. That's a very high quality 5th defenseman is what I would say. And maybe that would turn some people off because the Stars used a 1st round pick with them on him, but still a core guy that could be around for a long time and be excellent. Look, you need those type of guys. With Bixel coming up too here rather quickly, I would think at least by next year, could be the end of this year, who knows, but that's a guy that I think is going to be top 4 too. And you're going to have Miro, you're going to have Harley, and you're going to have Bixel, and maybe Lundqvist does fit in there as kind of your 4th guy, which is a very solid 4th defenseman too. I don't know if he's ever going to be a top pairing guy. I don't envision that, and I don't know if the Stars envision him that either, with Miro and Harley, of course, already in the conversation. So with Duchene, of course, and Faksa coming back, it just rounds out this lineup, and they just need games. The slow start of October and days off, they just need games as a full lineup, and you got to try to stay as healthy as possible. If there's maybe a silver lining, they're dealing with some of this early, and hopefully that goes away late. They were very lucky last year, did not lose a ton of man games, and were rather healthy throughout the entire playoffs. So exciting one tonight, though. Round 2 between the Blue Jackets and Stars. Stars back-to-back losses in regulation, could use a bounce-back win. Blue Jackets losing 2 of 3 since the last time these 2 teams met. So a big one to start off the road trip. Some good teams you're taking on. Winnipeg, who knows what they're going to look like. They've been off to a rather nice start, and Minnesota's been whoop. It's been up and down all over the place. So, but let's go ahead and play Shooting Star. Stop it, pause it. And now you're thinking about it. You already probably had it in your mind before you clicked on this episode. Comment who is going to be the shooting star tonight, and I'll give you my answer in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Parkview Advance. As a business owner, you realize there are times when receivables might fall behind, but that doesn't mean you need to fall behind on vendor payments, payroll, or rent. For more than 25 years, Parkview Advance has helped businesses secure working capital from $5,000 to $1.5 million. Parkview Advance can improve your working capital in as little as 24 hours. It's a much easier process than you might imagine. We invite the many entrepreneurs that are Locked On NHL fans and, of course, Locked On NHL fans and stands. It works both ways. To learn more and call them at 203-675-0071 or go to parkviewadvance.com. Once again, 203-675-0071 is the phone number, or you can go to parkviewadvance.com. If your business needs working capital, call Parkview Advance today. Parkview Advance, helping businesses with their working capital. One more time, 203-675-0071 or go to parkviewadvance.com. Stars and Blue Jackets round 2 tonight in Columbus. A struggling offense for the Blue Jackets and a Stars team that has run into some very hot goaltenders and have not really been able to execute offensively as well. Something we'll give tonight. Feeling good about this one. Otter has been phenomenal as a bounce-back goaltender. He is not my shooting star, though, although he would be a phenomenal pick. But I take the hard route, the gritty route, right? I'm the fourth line grinder, okay? I muck it up in the corners. Man, I don't score the pretty goals, all right? I forecheck a little bit, get pucks in deep, all the cliches. Here we go. Today's shooting star, pause for dramatic effects. You know who I'm really liking tonight? I've milled this over. Evgenii Dadanov, number 63, has been quiet the last few games. Only one goal so far on the season. And playing with Johnston does not hurt. That's for sure. Give me Evgenii Dadanov. 4 points so far in the first 11 games. And he scored 3 goals so far on the season. I love me some Dadanov tonight against Columbus. Let's have him have a big night, multi-goal night. The Stars could use one. He's been really good since coming over from Montreal, by the way. I know we touched on that, but he's been phenomenal for the Stars, and he's fit in so nicely with his club. And, of course, reuniting him with Pete DeBoer has helped, and he had a great finish to last year and a great cup run. My shooting star tonight, Evgenii Dadanov. We should touch on some keys to the game as well, because we have some time, and that's what you came here for. Number one key to the game, it was the same thing as last time they played the Blue Jackets. Take advantage 5-on-5. This team struggles to defend. They have not been getting great goaltending, and they're young, and they make a lot of mistakes. You had 18 high danger scoring chances again. Replicate that, and you'll be just fine against this Columbus team. Take them out of it early. Do not give this team any life. Key number 2, shut down Johnny Gaudreau. Shut him down. Do not give him life. Do not let him have a coming out party against the Stars and begin his 2023 campaign and go on a rampage. He's been held quiet so far, just 1 goal through the first month of the season. Do not allow him to wake up. He's had some success against the Stars, but I think you can body him there. Number 3, since the Stars have been getting in a lot of trouble infraction-wise, they've been taking some careless penalties, namely Mason Marchment. PK's got to be good tonight. That's another thing with a team that's struggling 5-on-5. You can't let them go on the job. They have a lot of skill. And if they make you pay, it's going to be very, very hard for them as well, who have already struggled a bit offensively here in the recent week. Do not put them on the job. Be very, very disciplined and nip that at the butt. If you can stay off the job, if you could chip in a power play goal, that would be wonderful too. Dadanov, pointing you out, my shooting star. That would be phenomenal too, because the power play has been horrendous. I would like to see them cash in a few times too. And I'm calling out everybody on the power play unit: Miro, Ben, Pav, Robo, Hintz, all of them. Calling them all out. Maybe that's what I have to do, because I'm sure every one of them make this podcast their first listen as well. I kid, of course. They have better things to do, and I hope they do. They should be worrying about other stuff than what I have to say on a day in and day out basis. Okay, thank you so much. Go ahead and follow me on the Twitter thing at JoeyTheJet19. Going to be a fun one tonight. Round 2 for the Blue Jackets and Stars as they begin their 3-game road trip. Let's take 6 out of 6. Why not? You had a chance to do it on your last one and just came up a bit short. Let's take 6 out of 6, baby, on this road trip. Some quality division opponents, too. You got Winnipeg and Minnesota. That would go a long way. As always, be sure to subscribe. We've hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for that, by the way. So awesome. Community is growing every single day. Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. As always, I'll have your instant reaction, and we'll break it down tomorrow on Locked On Stars. So be on the lookout for that. Enjoy the rest of your day, and then enjoy some Stars hockey tonight. So long, Stars fans.